I'm back. It's been a little while. I always find that when I record a podcast, I need to keep the momentum going. And the moment there's a break, I find it really hard to come back. And I'm sure I'm not alone with this. So this isn't a, oh my goodness, you've been missing me podcast. That's not what this is at all. But I thought I would just have a little chat and share what's been going on. Because the last time we had a podcast, it was July. And just after that, I did some teaching at UAL, which I do a few times a year, which I absolutely love. And I speak to all the members, I speak to all the students afterwards for years. It's absolutely brilliant seeing how people take their kind of knowledge and their creativity and move it forwards. But I went straight from teaching to an explorer camp. So I don't really talk about this here. I help out at explorers. I have talked about it on blog posts in the past. And explorers are scouts, so if you used to call venture scouts, it's the 14 to 18-year-olds, and I've been volunteering there for about 2 years, maybe. My youngest daughter was there, well, both my daughters were there, and when the youngest one reached explorer age, they needed some help, and I volunteered, and then I got very involved. Now there's loads of girls in there, and I basically help out. It's supposed to be once every 6 weeks, once every term. I help out a lot more than that. And because there's so many girls, I now go on camp. So this year I went on camp for the very first time. I'm going to paint a picture here. Sorry, this is quite personal stuff, but we'll get round to the rest of it in a minute. So the people who run explorers are very fit and healthy. All the guys are like, they cycle to work or they go on hikes. Our Kayla, our leader, was dropped out of a helicopter to the top of a mountain so he could ski down a mountain that no one else had been down. He's just been rock climbing in the Dolomites. You know, these are really fit people. So when they asked me to come to camp, I took this very seriously. I did one of the very first walks I helped out at. I did this night hike, basically, but we were climbing the equivalent of Ben Nevis or something in feet, but in a night hike. I don't really know how it all worked out, but basically we were walking up a really steep hill and I was at the back, quite new, just getting to know everyone. And I said to one of the leaders, I do go to the gym. I could hardly breathe walking up this hill. It was so embarrassing. I was like this middle-aged woman at the back of the hill, dying because I couldn't catch my breath because the kids were walking fast, and the leaders were walking fast. And I was like, I'm dying. So when they asked me to come on camp, I had 6 months notice. And I said, right, this is not happening anymore. I'm going to make sure I can keep up. So I started going to the gym religiously. I built from once a week to twice a week to 3 times a week. I was doing weight training, I was doing cardio, I was doing everything. I wanted to be stronger. I got stronger, but on the first night of camp, I got very ill. Very ill. I had all the symptoms you would get with food poisoning. I'm not going to go into any details, but let's just say when you're sleeping in a tent and someone at 2 o'clock can hear you and says, "You're all right, Emma," and you can't really respond because you're not feeling great. So what happened was the 5 days we were away with the explorers and rock climbing and cycling 10 miles around Lady Bower Reservoir and going through caves, even though I wasn't supposed to be doing caving, and going on hikes and all of that, I was wasted. I was out of it. I had zero energy. Nothing I ate stayed in. In one way or another, it all came out. And basically, I got home and weighed myself and I'd lost 5 pounds in 5 days. I had no energy. I felt awful. Anyway, so that was very, very disappointing. I still had a great time, but it was very disappointing. And it took me a good full week to actually get back up and going. And once that had happened, that was it. Podcast went out the window. Everything went out the window, to be honest. But once that had gone through, I was disappointed it had happened, but I still had a good time and I was able to help. I just wasn't physically able to do very much. Next year will be a whole different ballgame. So a couple of weeks after camp, I went on holiday. So again, time away, and I went surfing. And I go surfing pretty much every year. And I say that really, I just attempt to stand and stay standing. And I found that having done these 6 months of proper weight training, I was so strong and I've just become absolutely obsessed ever since. I could get myself up on the board really easily. I still don't think I'm particularly fit and healthy. I'm just much fitter and healthier and I'm much stronger. And that's really good. And I think that really takes you forward with anything, whether it's lifting boxes and moving furniture on chutes, or if it's just in general health, being able to carry on my life as I get older and older, because I'm of the age where parents are older and they need a little bit more help. And when I think back to when my mum was my age, she had a really big back operation. She had bulging discs and had a back operation, and it completely changed her whole life. She was a cab driver and she couldn't sit for long periods of time after that. So she had to change her whole career. And when I think back to how she was and how I am, I think there's just a real element of the more you look after yourself, the better it is. Anyway, that's a very long-winded way of saying hello. I've missed you guys. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back stronger than ever. And and really, it's just that it's okay to stop sometimes. I have ADHD, so I'm all go. And when I stop, I hate it. I hate not moving forwards. I hate not doing the things I say I'm going to do. I hate recording podcasts with amazing guests and not getting them out as quickly as I would have hoped to or had planned to. But actually, sometimes you have to just step away and say, it's okay. It's okay to stop. It's okay to have breathing space. It's okay to take a little bit longer coming back, because at the end of the day, people understand. And as long as it happens in the end, those promises don't get broken. You do the promises all the way through. It's okay. It's okay to stop. It's okay when your body says no, you listen and you recover and you come back stronger. And I think that was the case with me. I needed a break. I've had a lovely break. I have said about 4 times, I'm just taking August off podcasts and blogs, and now we're nearly at the end of September. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was I have just come back from a business retreat, and I ummed and ahed as to whether I was going to do this or not. I am in Jen Stanbrook's business retreat, and I've known Jen for a long time. I love learning from her. She's always 300 or 400 steps ahead of me. So if I want to learn about Instagram, or I want to talk about landing pages or blogging or anything like that, she's been really instrumental in my kind of learning. And when she released this retreat, which she did last year and I wasn't able to go, I was like, I'm definitely going to go. And then the timing was terrible for interiors. It was during design week. There were so many different things going on. But actually what happened was I gave myself more rest time, and I was able to pause. I was able to put down all the dog walking and all the housework chores, and I didn't have to look after the kids were away, they were all taken care of, the husband can look after himself for a few days. And I gave myself this massive amount of breathing space, and it meant I was able to really think about what I was doing, where I'm going. I know exactly where I'm going, but this gave me real, and we were banned from saying this on the retreat, but clarity. I had such incredible clarity, and it was really, really beneficial. And to have, I left on Monday and I came back on Wednesday, but it was like chocker, like 48 hours of chocker, being around really amazing, like-minded business women who have such great ideas. And I've always said this, wherever I am, when I'm in a room of business women or business people, it's the questions you don't know you need to ask that get answered. So someone would ask a question about something completely, we were talking about TikTok. Someone will ask about TikTok and I'll go, okay, now I know about that. Or maybe it's Facebook or Pinterest or whatever it is. You don't always know to ask those questions. So being around those people was really, really great. And I came out having offloaded some of my to-do list, because I am a person who looks at all the different things that are going on. And it's never a case of, I should be doing Instagram, I should be doing TikTok, it's like should. I don't want to should all over myself. But it's a case of, I want to do it all. And sometimes you have to take a step back, look at the whole picture, and then come back in and see exactly what it is that you need to be doing, not should be doing, need to be doing. I had a really interesting question come up during the retreat. I was asking all the way through, what's the hierarchy? Are podcasts and blogs more important than social media? Is social media more important than newsletters? Should I be doing, because should's coming in again, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? It was quite a lot of kind of in my head. I said, we did this kind of round table at the very beginning saying why we were there. And I was saying, I feel like my head is Mr. Messy. It's all scrambled up inside my brain. There's so many things I want to do, and there's so many things on my to-do list, and I can't think straight. And I want to do a bit of this, but then I start a bit of that, and have I got time for this? And all of those things, you mix in all that I'm doing for Inside Stylists with styling work and teaching, and then adding kids and dogs and husbands and housework and all this sort of stuff. My brain was just like whirring. So to have the time to sit and be calm was brilliant. And one of the things that came up, Jen said, if you could only have 2, what would they be? And she said, newsletters are a given, because we're doing newsletters. It's a really big part of everyone's business. You own your newsletter. You don't own your social media. So I'm sure you know what I mean by that. But if Instagram closes down or shuts you down, you lose all those followers. But if you've got a newsletter list with everyone's email addresses, you can say, okay, I've got a new Instagram account here, go follow me over there. You own your newsletter. So newsletters are given, but if you could only have 2, what would they be? I said what my 2 would be, but then driving home, I added another 2 in, which means I've got 4. 4's probably too many, but anyway, I've decided 4 is plenty. But it was really, really clarifying, and it was great to have that time away. I think I missed about 6 press launches. I missed loads of events, but it was worth every single second of time I had away. And I've kept it, sometimes it's like when you go on holiday, you have all this time to relax, and then you come back to work and you're like, straight back to email, straight back to work. I feel like I haven't even been on holiday. It's that. I don't have any of that. I still feel the clarity. So why did I focus on the retreat rather than the kind of interiors world? Because we're launching a studio. Now, every time I say this, people are like, what is this studio? Well, it's launching in October. I'm not going to share too much, but that is what I'm working on at the moment. And it is very exciting. It's very much based on the interior stylists and photographers and assistants of the membership of Inside Stylists. And I will be sharing it over on socials regularly and in newsletters. I'll be sharing it everywhere. But I've been working very hard on that. And that has been really great. I had a really clear point. I had a really clear plan before I even got to the retreat, but I just have an even kind of more focused way I'm going to move forward with it. And I'm very excited about it. I've talked to a few PRs and a few brands about it. Everybody I've spoken to has kind of raised an eyebrow. That sounds interesting. That sounds like something we should get involved in. So this isn't a pluggy thing, but if you are interested in finding out more about the studio when it does launch, then do pop over to insidestylist.com/updates. And there's a newsletter there. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to call it a newsletter anymore. There's an email list that you can sign up to where you will be updated just about the studio. You won't be put on any other newsletters or any other emails. Try not to say newsletters anymore. Apparently it's old school. But yeah, if you want to be updated about what is happening with the new studio, then do get on that email list. insidestylist.com/updates. I'll put a link below. Then you can find out what's happening with it as and when it launches. And those podcasts that I recorded back in June and July. Oh, it's painful to say that, but they're great. I had some technical issues, and when I went back to edit them, if I don't edit them in one go, I just hate having come back to them. But I found a whole new system and a whole new tech way of editing my podcasts. If you're a podcaster, do drop me a line and I will share what that is. Won't bore everybody with that because most people don't have podcasts. But I found a really great way to edit the podcasts so that when the timing's out with the video, because I put my podcast go on video and on audio now, I found a way to make sure that everything links up because it wasn't linking up. And that was a nightmare. But it's all linking up now. The tech is way more organized. So that is dealt with, and we have some great episodes coming up. We have Holly Jolliffe, who is an interiors photographer, who I met way back at the very beginning. I met her when I was at Woman & Home. I think I met her, well, she went kind of out on her own as a photographer just as I was going freelance. I'm pretty sure it was around then. So we're talking about 15, 16 years ago. She was fabulous. I sat editing it while I was away, and then at the very last minute, the tech gods were not on my side, so it glitched out. And also I've interviewed Maxine Brady and Gemma Gear. They are coming up on a future podcast episode too, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Last thing I will just say about podcasts is that I decided on the retreat that the reason the podcast has been such a nightmare to get out is because I've given myself so much work to do. There just aren't enough hours in the day. So I'm going to alternate the podcast and the blog. So 1 week will be podcast, 1 week will be blog. So you'll get 2 podcasts a month instead of every week, so that I have some breathing space. So if there's anyone you admire or love within interiors and would love to hear me interview and talk to, then do drop a line below. Let me know. If there's any topics you would like me to talk about within interiors or interior styling, let me know that too, because as I think you can tell from this one, I love to talk. So that's it for today. The podcast will be coming more regularly now, every other week. Probably this one will come out and then I'll start the next one first week running, and then it'll be every other week. This is just like a little mini reintroduction. If you know anyone who loves interiors and you think they would enjoy this, please share it with them. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I never remember to say that. Like and subscribe. It really helps. Me and the podcast get seen. And not me get seen. The podcast gets seen. And I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, that's all for now. Have a great day. Bye for now.